Hey everybody, Will here, and today I am on the new floor, and I've actually decided to go ahead and set up my whole little office area here. You can see I have the desk and I got a new table and a lamp for up here, and this is actually all part of my plan to bring you more videos this year. You know I have a number of things coming, including a new mod, updates to the Baja Bug video, as well as hopefully some other projects around the apartment and other things like that. But I wanted to break them up a little bit with some quicker, simpler to make videos. I might not even score them all the time, but I wanted to make quicker videos for you guys, including things like I showed you my 360 rig I built for the Baja Bug engine rebuild video. I have other things like that, including a really cool time-lapse dolly, which I use rather extensively in the workshop storage video. As well as I want to do things like, not quite reviews and unboxings, but occasionally if I get a product that I feel really strongly about, either positively or negatively, maybe I want to just show it to you and talk to you and give you a little bit of my thoughts and opinions on it, because apparently you guys want to hear that. So I thought I would start off today with this, which is something I just very recently got, which is the DJI Phantom Quad-Copter, or drone as some people call it. It has a couple different names, but this is a quadcopter made by DJI, which is pretty cool. And I have to admit, before I start talking about it, that it was a bit of an impulse buy. I actually knew absolutely nothing of these or have flown any sort of helicopter or quadcopter or RC plane even. It just always seems like something to me that was really cool. And then this one in particular, which showed up with a GoPro mount built in, popped up the other day on Amazon on sale for like, I think it was about $380, which is about $100 off of what you can even buy now. This is the DJI Phantom 1, by the way. They have a couple different ones. I think there's a Phantom 2, which has a bigger battery life, and then a Phantom Vision, which has built-in camera, but this is kind of the first one. And just to show you really quick the box it comes in, it's right here. It looks like you could buy it at the Apple Store. I don't think you can. But it comes in this box, and the big thing about this one is it's almost ready to fly. You can see here's the drone. This is not quite stock. I'll tell you what's different about it in a second. But it also comes with the controller and a battery. But so these are really cool. You can, I've seen a lot of them. There's a lot of different types. If you don't know anything about them, it's kind of hard to get into because there's just so many different types of them. There's ones with 3 rotors, 6 rotors, 4 rotors. But a lot of them that you see too, you can't even just buy ready to fly. They have to be built. You can buy the airframe, and there's a logic board inside here which controls its flight. You have to usually buy that controller separately, the motors, the propellers, the landing gear. So it's a little bit of an undertaking if you don't know anything about it. And so I thought this was a cool way to kind of learn about it. And just to tell you, it came almost fully assembled. All you had to do is attach the legs and route these cables through it. You can see it has a GoPro on it now. That's mine, of course. But the legs, the propellers you had to mount, the whole body came assembled with the board inside of it and everything. These propeller guards were an extra purchase. I think they're about $15 or $20. But if you're first learning or flying indoors, I'd say they're a must. They're just they feel a lot more comfortable. You can crash them quite a bit. Actually, I flew its first flight. I tried to take off in the apartment, which was a mistake. And actually, since then, I've crashed it a number of times. Why don't I just go ahead and show you the footage right now? But they can take quite a beating. But nonetheless, I would still recommend these highly if you're taking a first flight, because the propellers will last longer. The propellers aren't too expensive. They're about, I think, $20 for a set from DJI. And you can also get into getting carbon fiber propellers, and then you can go ahead and start balancing them. And there's a whole lot you can do to make it fly better and smoother and everything. But I would go ahead and get those propeller guards if you're just starting out with these. Another upgrade that I did is this, which is an anti-vibration plate. You can see the white part of this plastic here is part of the GoPro mount that came with it, as well as this little holder is part of the Phantom that it came with. But that normally bolts directly to the whole body. And the vibrations, again, even when it was new, before it started getting beat up, was just really intense. I flew it for some people who used to, who have flown RC planes and sort of things and have had little cameras on it, mainly for fun, not for making videos, and they were just amazingly impressed by the GoPro footage from its stock. But from a person who uses video for kind of professional uses, it's not really good enough if you bolt it straight on that. You kind of need to at least get this. It's what I would probably recommend you get right off the bat. It's about $20 for this carbon fiber little anti-vibration plate. And then you can go even further and get brushless gimbals for it, which range from like $150 to $400 for the brushless gimbals, which is something I really want to get for these things. So once you kind of assembled the propellers and the landing gear and everything, if you look at the manual, it can be a little bit intimidating. You can see this whole flying flow chart here that I wasn't really sure how to read. And it's just a lot of information to try to put in your head before you fly it, as well as this, how to read the LED. There's a big LED here on the front, which will light up when we start it up. And that's basically how it tells you what's going on when it's in flight. But if you read that and you try to kind of memorize what's going on, it's a little bit intimidating. But I'm going to show you right now how to do it. I'm actually going to do a quick little demonstration in here for you guys. And I'll talk about the modes too, which is kind of important when you are flying indoors. It's not really advised, especially if you have kind of a smaller space. But here I kind of have enough room to do it. So I thought it'd be cool to show you the different modes and how it works indoors. So just really quickly to talk about the features of this. That it has, in addition to just kind of being ready to fly, one great feature of this is its GPS lock is the main one that people talk about, is its ability to fly and basically hold its position in space. Just to show you really quick with the controller, this stick right here will control its forward, backwards, left, and right movement. You can see they all center too. And the one on the right, up and down, makes its altitude change, and left and right makes it twist left and right. And of course, you can see the front right here with the GoPro on it, front is that way. But once it's in the air, it'll hold its position in GPS, assuming it has enough GPS signal, which is hard to do indoors, by the way. But if it has enough signal, it'll hold itself in place. And forward means it goes forward, backwards means it goes backwards, left means it goes right. And once you let go of the stick and let it center, it'll stop and try to hold its position. Whether there's wind going or whatever's going on, it'll fight it and correct itself and try to hold its position in space no matter what. So that's just a really cool feature. And another one of this that it has in particular, which is great for beginners, is the range on it is really incredible. If you fly it up, it'll go straight up till you cannot see it anymore. Same goes for going forward and backward. So one thing people are afraid of is, of course, losing these things. And things happen, and occasionally you lose signals to your controller. The cool thing about this one is when it loses its signal, it stops. You can see a bright flashing light in the back that says it lost the signal. Well, you wouldn't see that if you can't see it, but that happens. And then what it does is it ascends to a certain height above the tree line and then slowly comes back home from the position where it took off from, and then comes very slowly back down and lands itself, which is just really great because, again, this was about $300 or $400, and again, they get a lot more expensive. And the gimbal, again, could be a couple $100s on it. And the camera, of course, and who knows what you shot with it. That footage might be worth quite a lot too. So that's a cool feature, which I've heard reports has occasionally not worked for people, but it hasn't. I've tested it, it's worked. I've flown it straight in the air, actually out of sight, and did it, and it worked, which was probably not too smart to do. And actually, I'm gonna write my name on it soon, and put my phone number on it inside or something like that. But it's just a really great feature for just something out of the box that's ready to go like that, that you don't have to program. So the GPS features on this thing are really cool. Going back to the GPS flying mode where you move kind of forward in space based on where it is in GPS space, it also has this mode on the controller, which is marked ATTI. I think it stands for attitude. I'm not sure, but let's call it ATTI mode. A lot of people call it. It has this flying mode, which unlike that mode, it lets it kind of fly more like a little bit more like a helicopter. You still control kind of how it moves, but it's much more open to other things. Like if there's wind, it'll start to blow in the direction of the wind, and you'll have to correct for that. And when you're flying and you let go of the stick and it centers itself, the plane will center itself, but it'll keep drifting in the direction that it was flying in, which is actually really important, really great if you're using it for video. Again, even if you have great GPS signal, you're probably going to want to, when you're at the point of shooting video, turn it to ADI mode, so that way you can get those much smoother, nicer shots. And in addition, it's not correcting itself and doing those slight twists back and forth to hold itself in space, which you can see in your footage, especially if you don't have something like a brushless gimbal. So that's a really cool way to control it and move it around. And then in addition to that mode, here on the other side of the controller, we have a course lock feature, which is part of its intelligent orientation control, I believe it's called, modes, as well as a home lock feature. And course lock, to tell you really quick, again, if we're flying around in especially a space like this from where I am, you take off, you move it forward, it's going to go forward, you move it left, it's going to go left, and it's going to go right, however I want it to, which is great. But as soon as you turn it to get a picture of something, to face a direction that you want it to face, left is now actually this way, and right's actually going to be what was forward before. And again, if you turn it a number of times, and depending on how far away it is, you don't know which way's left, which way's right. So when you turn on that course lock feature, basically it sets a course when it's booting up. It'll tell you, it'll flash green a number of times when it's set a course. And when that happens, basically once you take off and you put it in course lock mode, forward will always be forward. And then when you turn it, it'll still be forward that way. And basically if you're flying it in a space like this and I'm here, the right wall is always going to be the right, the left wall is always going to be to the left, which is really, really a lot easier to control these sort of things. And in addition, related to that course lock feature is one more, which is home lock. And this doesn't work in this small of a space. I think you have to be a number of feet away from wherever the home point is, which is, again, where it registered that it took off from. But if you put it in home lock and you fly it somewhere and you don't know where, let's say you don't even know where it is around you, basically the home point where it took off from is back. So if you pull the stick back towards you, it'll come back to you no matter where it is, hundreds of feet in either direction. Which is great, again, because if you just lose it, you're unsure of what happened to it. You have no idea which way is left or right, and you just need to bring it back. Kind of look up, because obviously it's going to be in the air, and just pull it, keep pulling it home. And eventually, once it gets closer and it gets within a certain number of feet from that home point, it actually acts like course lock. So again, forward would then be forward, and back would be back. So that's a great feature, again, if you're just confused, you don't know where it is to use for that. Okay, so you have it and it's put together and you're ready to fly it. And why don't I go ahead and get started with that? One thing though, here's the battery again. And these batteries I think last for about 10 minutes with the, I think its quote says 10 to 15 minutes, but it's pretty close to 10, even maybe a little bit less, especially if you have a GoPro on it. But they're not too expensive. I think they're about $30. You can also buy aftermarket batteries, which can go down as low as like $12 or $15. And you can also do multiple batteries and do things like strap them to the outside. They have additional carbon fiber plates you can buy from various companies that would then hold 2 batteries, or you can get one bigger battery and mount it through some other way. So you can do a ton of different things. Like I said, a lot of people just build these straight from scratch. So there's various ways to change it and do it. And also add features, I should add. You can also get like an iPad app that lets you set waypoints so you can send it to GPS locations. But out of the box, here we go. Here's the battery. And it goes in here, the battery holder. It also has a USB header in here, and that it will tell you should use to upgrade the firmware when you first get it. And one note I should tell you about that, because I was a little bit confused. I did exactly what it said, upgraded the firmware, and then all of a sudden I moved to the point where you're gonna start flying it, and my controller wouldn't link to it. And that's because my firmware upgrade actually changed the settings to something wrong, and I had to kind of go over it and recheck everything. And it was the type of controller that ended up being changed that I had to switch back. So that's just a little note in case you run into that situation. But once you've upgraded the firmware and everything seems to be working okay, you set the battery in this hole here, plug it in, and actually the first thing you should do is you should turn on the controller here. So there we go. The controller is on. And you go ahead and plug the battery in. So there we go. You tuck the wires the best you can in here and close it. And you can see this LED blinking in the back here a number of times. And again, if something happened actually that's really great here. This basically means the red and yellow flashing means that the compass's error is too big. If you haven't flown it before, it'll just be flashing a single color. You have to calibrate the compass. But in my situation, it's telling me it's too big. I got to set it up to calibrate the compass, and that just involves switching the switch back and forth until it turns solid yellow. And then you just pick it up and do a slow twist, 360 degrees. And you can see when we get to that 360 degree point, the light turns off, or does it? It turns to green, which means we then have to put it this direction, perpendicular to the ground, and do that again. And there we're good. So I'm setting it back down. And so a number of lights happen. If you're in a cold place and you're flying outside, I don't even think it flashes green because it has to warm up. But once it's flashing green, that means it's warmed up. You just saw that flash. That means course lock got locked in, I believe. Or it might be the home point got locked in. I think it's course lock. But now it's flashing green and a number of red lights, which is probably what you're going to be seeing most. And the red lights basically indicate how much GPS signal it has. If it has more than 6 satellites, you won't see anything. If it has 6 satellites, you'll see 1 red flash. If it has 5 satellites, you'll have 2 flashes. And if it has less than 5 satellites, you'll see 3 flashes. And I probably should have counted that up the other way, because usually you'll see it go from 3 to 0 fairly fast. We're indoors, so it's going to take a long time, and it might not even get 6. But I think you need 5, or you either need at least 5 for certain modes to work. And 6 is kind of recommended, and more than 6, of course, means you're really good. So right now, it seems to have actually found the signal, which means it's ready to fly. So again, we have it in GPS mode, and we have it in off of the course lock mode. So it's going to forward, it's always going to be forward. And I'm going to show you both modes. I'm actually going to switch it really quickly to ATTI mode. You can see the red flashes would no longer happen if they were there. And that yellow flash just means it's in ATTI mode. So let's go ahead and take off with it. And I'm going to move over here. The way you start it up pretty much is you put the 2 sticks together, or actually outwards. I like to put them in towards each other, and that'll start the motors. If you go ahead and look over there, everything's started up. It's got good LEDs. Kind of the red side is showing you that that's the front, and that's kind of why it's 2 different colors. But here we go, and we just pull it up a little bit to take off. And here we go. So just to show you again, right now, it's not in course lock. So when I press this way, it's going that way, and it's a little bit hard to control. But just to turn course lock on real quick, and again, now it's just much better. I can turn around. You can see Adira there with the GH3 and a GoPro. It's just a lot easier to control. And these buildings on the wall are actually some new pieces for the Snap Judgment live show I work with that are being stored here. And you can see one thing I've noticed, it keeps its altitude really, really well. And again, right now it's also in ATTI mode. So if you can see, I move this way, it just sort of drifts and keeps going. If I go back here, let's see. Yeah, so I come towards me, it just keeps kind of going and slowly drifting. If I put it in GPS mode real quick, just to show you how that works, you can see it kind of moves around a little bit, and it's again, we're indoors, doesn't have the best GPS signal. I don't know why it dropped down that much. Again, it's just because of its low GPS signal and how it's working. But if you see, if I kind of come towards me, it kind of stops itself a lot better. But let's get out of that system. And you could just see, this is one of the reasons too, I did buy it hopefully to film some stuff, but I definitely also bought it a little bit just to play with it. Here we go. can see a bump in there with the wall. If you did not have those prop guards on there, it probably would have flown right to the ground. And it probably would have been fine. It would have damaged your props, but definitely the prop guards are a nice thing to have. One thing I learned too is just you gotta kind of stand no matter where you are in the direction that it took off on. If you're losing the course lock feature, that makes it easier to kind of remember. I'm not doing a very good job of it right now, but whoa, that makes it a little bit easier. And actually the course lock on this wasn't quite straight, which is, I'm having a little bit of problems there too. It's really worth it to reset the course lock so it's perfectly straight. But it's definitely a good way to help control it. And so one thing you're probably noticing too about this is it's rocking back and forth. Whenever I turn, it's rocking back and forth, which is not a good look. And that's a thing that a gimbal would, again, help out a lot. A brushless gimbal would help out a lot with these. It definitely does handle a little bit better, different too, with the camera on it than it does without it. So if you had more weight, I'm not sure how that would do to its handling, but it can hold a bit more weight. If I go ahead and go in here and hold on to it for a second, it actually, you can feel it pull. It's pretty cool. And also the draft, if you haven't noticed, is pretty severe. So when I fly it around other places, you'll see dust and any loose pieces of paper go flying around. All right. So why don't I go ahead, let's just fly it around a little bit more. Oh, that's never happened before. That was actually pretty cool. I went a little bit too high, and of course the prop guards do not protect the very tops of the props. I'm surprised that recovered. That was a bit scary because it was so high. But you could, they can take a hit or two. And again, these are a little bit expensive. I'm being a little bit reckless with mine. I think one day, I'm sure I'll probably build a bigger one that can hold a DSLR in a couple of years. I don't know. But yeah, you might want to be a little bit more careful than me. I don't know if the battery is flashing yet. Yeah, you can see we are in, you see that flashing red light right there? That means that the battery is low. And in a minute, it'll start to pretty much just slowly sink. And you could definitely still fight it in a minute. Again, it'll just sink and I could pull up and it has more time, but it's letting me know that it needs to park soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Whoa. Again, see that I got messed up there because I wasn't facing the direction I was going. But let me go ahead and switch it into the normal mode. Oh. That was actually it. Again, sticks together, turn it off. That was actually it landing kind of by itself. You saw it just sank right down. I could have pulled up, but it was in a good spot to land. Let me go ahead and switch the battery real quick so we can get another flight out of it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're back now. And actually, I'm really excited to do this. I've been waiting to do this for a while now. I haven't done it yet. It might be the lamest thing in the world. But I also thought it could be really cool. Check it out. Whoa. What? I don't know. Is that cool looking? I won't know till later. This might have just been a complete waste of time. All right, but anyway, another thing people were asking me about is they were asking me for an updated tour to my apartment. So I thought, while I have the drone and I'm showing how it works and everything, why not do a tour? So let's go ahead and actually let's start. Let's see. Let's start over here. And here's the new office area. I got the desk. I actually put on wheels too. The idea is if I still need to use it for a sort of stage like I did with the Baja Bug stuff, I could push everything to this side against the wall and still have a little bit of space on the end to get some cool shots on. You can see over here is the kind of gym area, and you can see I just got a washer and dryer, which is like really cool actually. I didn't think to make a video putting it in. It wasn't very interesting, but it's nice to be able to do laundry. Here is the pile of junk on top of the corner office, which you can see has doors, by the way, which might interest you. Actually, those were put together not from scratch, but they were kind of a makeshift thing, and I'm going to show you how they work as well as what's going on inside. It looks a little bit nicer in another short video. Over here is where I keep all my video equipment, and tripods, light stands. Back in the back there is the table charger of death, which I can only call it if you can see how many chargers and electrical cords are going on there. Otherwise, if we come up here and go upstairs, which I've never showed you before, this is kind of my painting area. It's kind of where I paint. By the window, I can open up the window and put a fan if I have to spray paint parts, as well as a way to access this whole upper area. You may have noticed in other previous videos, as well in this video, I've used some mounting air locations for cameras. Right there is an old Sanyo that I have, as well as over here is one of my new GF3s. So there we have that. Okay, and let's go ahead and go down here. So here is the aisle of storage stuff that I've made. Let's go through here. Oh. Whoop. Whoa, there we go. Now we are in the workshop. Okay, so that's the workshop. There we are into the kitchen area. And you can see as I get into kind of the more, look at the rugs down there, they're just going crazy. The rest of the kitchen here. Whoa, there's a plant that I almost chopped up. Here's the living room. You can see I got some new IKEA shelving things. Adira, oh look, it's losing battery. I'm gonna have to switch batteries real quick. Again. Here, let me just. Okay, so battery 3 now. Let's see. Okay, ooh. Okay, so we are now on battery 3. Let's go ahead and finish up with the tour. We were in here, I was trying to tell you about our IKEA shelves that we got. Adira recently took a ceramics class, so you can see those beautiful works of art sitting on there. I'm sure she's worried as I get closer. Oh my God, I actually can't even see it right now. This was a mistake. Whoa, okay. So that's the living room. A little bit's changed. With the storage up there, those bins used to be in the living room too, all the way back there. Now they're up there, but so the living room's a little bit more clear. There's some mirrors. I made those from just some square mirrors and some wood, nothing special. And then here is kind of the outer bedroom now that it's not an office. It's just got some chests of drawers. Those things in front of you right now are actually some also IKEA panels, closet panels that I got off Craigslist for free. You can see the bottom piece of glass is a slightly different color. Somebody broke it and couldn't find a replacement, so they just gave it away for free on Craigslist. We're gonna build another closet in there because the other one's getting a little bit full, so that's what that's gonna be. And then of course there's the bedroom going on there too. So that's about it. That is my updated tour. Oh, see, as I switch past where I was before, it's now become harder to fly again. But that's it. That is the rest of that little tour. That's the end of this DJI Phantom video. Again, this has just been really cool. I'm really glad I got it, and just for a toy, but also I hope to use it for some cool stuff. Again, a gimbal for sure, and then I'll just probably mod it out a little bit too. And I'll give you updates, and those will be part of my series that I'm talking about, trying to do more quick videos. And let me know of all the things I said, what you want to see most and what sort of videos you want to see me do in addition. Again, this year I just want to kind of try to make sure I do at least one a month, probably like 2 even if I'm doing these sort of things. So let me know, and make sure you're subscribed and go to Facebook and do all that stuff. Otherwise, that's it. Thanks for watching.